The Bucks called the Knicks and asked for an offer for Giannis, okay?
And?
Because Giannis said, I want to be a Knick. So people were like, oh my God, he deleted a photo from May where he had a Bucks logo on it. Guys, he asked to be traded already.
But at the end of the day, I just want to win. We've lost 7 in a row. I want to remember last time I lost 7 in a row.
Something wild just went down. And it might be the beginning of the end for a legend. After 12 years, 2 MVPs, and a championship run that changed everything, Giannis Antetokounmpo just sent the NBA into panic mode. Out of nowhere, he wiped his entire Instagram. Every Bucks moment gone in seconds. All that's left, his NBA Cup post and that iconic championship pic that used to scream loyalty. But this wasn't some random social media reset. Giannis always speaks through actions, and this move fits his pattern. Earlier this summer, he quietly thought about leaving before backing off. Now he's turning up the pressure again. Hours after the wipe, insider Shams Charania reported Giannis and his agent were having serious talks with the Bucks about whether staying even makes sense anymore. Not a trade request, but the clock is definitely ticking. For 5 straight years, every time Giannis hinted at walking, Milwaukee scrambled to keep him happy. But this time, it feels different. The Bucks might finally be out of moves, and teams across the league are waiting to pounce. The next few months could flip the entire NBA. A Clippers deal would shake everything up, but if that doesn't hit, OKC might run the next draft. And remember, Giannis has never been the type to play games. He's always been straight about what he wants. He looks at Milwaukee and sees the team that drafted him, believed in him, and helped him grab that championship because they brought him the pieces he needed. Back in September 2023, on the 48 Minutes podcast with former Bucks assistant Ross Geiger, Giannis dropped a line every Milwaukee fan should have burned into their brain. Wild to think about, right? The dude who brought the city its first title in 50 years is now tired of celebrating it because he wants more. And in that same podcast, he made his mindset loud and clear. Stay loyal if Milwaukee stays hungry. Leave if they get comfortable. This wasn't some random comment. This is how Giannis operates. And the Bucks felt it every time. Whenever he hinted at frustration, they panicked and made huge moves. Some smart, some straight up messy, leaving them stuck with bad deals and no picks. Look closely and you'll see the same pattern hitting on repeat, which is exactly why his Instagram wipe sent fans into full-blown panic mode.
Results-based business, a results-based situation. Giannis Antetokounmpo has made it clear he wants winning. And so the results have spoken for themselves. And if they keep trending this way, this is just the start for even more hard conversations to come. And also, like I keep saying, the inevitable writing on the wall, as one source.
So let's rewind to where all this started. In 2020, the Bucks had just posted back-to-back best records in the league, and Giannis was a monster. 2 MVPs, a DPOY, joining legends Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon as the only players ever with both in the same season. He was bending history at his size, but Milwaukee had one ugly problem: playoff heartbreak. Toronto knocked them out in 2019. Miami cooked them in 2020, and suddenly Giannis was 1 year from free agency, while every big market started circling like sharks. Then came the interview in Sweden, the moment everything shifted. Asked about signing long-term, Giannis said, "I do not know what the plan is. It depends on what decisions they make." That one line hit Milwaukee like a siren. They had 2 options: make a splash or risk watching their superstar bounce, and they didn't hesitate. On November 17th, 2020, the Bucks made one of the boldest swings ever, sending Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, 3 first-rounders and 2 swaps to New Orleans for Jrue Holiday. People called them wild for giving up that much for a guy who hadn't been an all-star in years, but that's exactly the kind of move Giannis wanted to see. A front office ready to risk everything. An NBA exec even told ESPN Giannis had to approve it. That's all that matters. And he was right, because the deal paid off instantly. Giannis signed a 5-year, $228 million supermax, and 7 months later, he and Jrue were holding the trophy after Giannis dropped a legendary 50 in the closeout game. But that deal became the blueprint. Giannis hints, Milwaukee panics, they swing big, he signs, everyone celebrates. And yeah, that blueprint came with a cost: 3 picks, 2 swaps, and key role guys gone, with New Orleans still holding swap rights in 2026 and 2027. Fast forward to 2023, and the magic was gone. Since winning the title, Milwaukee hadn't won a single playoff series. Boston sent them home in 2022, Miami embarrassed them in 2023, Middleton kept getting hurt, Budenholzer was out, Lopez was aging, and the bench fell apart. Giannis started sounding the alarm again, repeating the same message.
At the end of the day, I am a winner. I want to be a winner. Contracts, fame, status, comfort zone does not matter to me. What matters at the end of the day, it's where that thing right there. That's what matters. I don't want to be able to get stuck in this lifetime to keep on talking about the same story. Oh, we went to Game 6 in the NBA Finals, we won, we were down 2-0, we came back, won 4 games. I'm tired of hearing the same story over and over again. I feel like people get stuck.
He wanted championships, not memories. And if Milwaukee wasn't all in, he'd find a place that was. Vintage Giannis, polite wording, loud meaning. So the Bucks went right back to the old plan. The Drew trade brought a ring, so maybe adding Damian Lillard could spark another. In September 2023, Milwaukee finally pulled the trigger. A massive 3-team deal brought Damian Lillard to the Bucks, and for a minute, it looked like everything was lining up. 1 month later, Giannis signed a 3-year, $186 million extension with a player option for 2027 to 2028. And that option would soon become the biggest plot twist in the whole story. At Media Day, Giannis told fans exactly what they wanted to hear, that he wanted to stay in Milwaukee for life. But then he dropped the line that froze the whole room, as long as we are winning. And that changed everything, because from day one, the Lillard experiment just wasn't it. What looked perfect on paper turned into messy chemistry. Giannis and Dame never found rhythm. Their first season ended with a rough first-round loss to the Pacers, and the second year was the same heartbreak all over again. Then disaster hit in Game 4 of the 2025 playoffs. Lillard tore his Achilles at 34 with $113 million still on his deal, instantly becoming one of the toughest blows in Bucks history. And the price for all these swings kept stacking up. The Jrue Holiday trade had already eaten their picks, and the Lillard deal drained even more, handing Portland swap rights in 2028 and 2030. Plus, Holiday ended up helping Boston win a title in 2024, while Lillard was stuck rehabbing and unable to help the Bucks at all. 2 blockbuster trades, 1 championship, 3 first-round exits, and a roster with almost no assets left. That's where Milwaukee ended up. Milwaukee went all in and suddenly had nothing left.
If you want to know how Giannis feels, look at what his actions were over the summer.
By summer 2025, the whole situation hit rock bottom. Lillard was owed over $100 million and wasn't playing the entire 2025 to 2026 season. The roster was aging out, the bench was thin, and the so-called reset was just a fancy cover-up. No cap space, no picks, no real path forward, and Giannis could see the wall coming fast. Then the league flipped again. In the 2025 playoffs, Jason Tatum tore his Achilles against the Knicks, and in Game 7 of the Finals, Tyrese Halliburton suffered the same fate versus the Thunder. 2 of the East's brightest young stars were suddenly out for the entire 2025 to 26 season. For Giannis, that changed the timing of everything. With Tatum and Halliburton out, the East looked wide open. Boston's leader gone, Indiana's star gone, and Milwaukee saw one last window to try something wild. So GM John Horst made a move nobody saw coming. On July 1st, 2025, the Bucks waived and stretched Damian Lillard's contract, turning his $113 million into 5 years of dead money, a record-breaking $22.5 million a year. The biggest stretch hit the league had ever seen. Why take that massive hit to sign Miles Turner? Milwaukee gave him a 4-year, $107 million deal. Analysts called it one of the biggest panic moves ever, and fans said it felt like breaking the emergency glass after the whole house had already burned down. On paper, the idea made sense. The East looked weaker than ever. Giannis was still elite, and on paper, Miles Turner could bring rim protection and shooting just like Brook Lopez once did. Maybe they could sneak a title in a down year. But there was one huge problem. Giannis hated the move. Reports came out instantly saying he was frustrated the team cut ties with Lillard. Instead of fixing things through winning, everything kept crashing. By early December, the whole plan was in pieces. The Bucks were 10-13, losers of 8 of their last 10, sitting 10th in the East and not even in the play-in picture. Then, December 1st, 2025 happened, a day Bucks fans will never shake. Washington came in with just 3 wins, literally the worst team in the league, and Milwaukee still collapsed 129 to 126 at home. The Wizards didn't even have Alex Sarr that night. It was embarrassing, the kind of loss that exposes every crack in a so-called contender. And while the team was falling apart, Giannis was playing like a video game cheat code. Over 30 a night, double-digit boards, 6 assists, nearly 64% shooting. Nobody in history had ever averaged 30 on 60% for 3 straight seasons. Those are best player alive numbers. But that same guy just lost to a team that might not even hit 15 wins.
Sacrifice the same amount of time and sweat and blood that I've sacrificed for this city to win a championship. We are all good. The moment I feel like people are complacent and they're okay, because at the end of the day, this is the NBA. You are taken care of. Everybody's comfortable. No. By being comfortable, I cannot reach my full potential. I want us to win another championship. As long as we play and we approach the game every single day, all sacrifice for a common goal, I can see myself being in Milwaukee Bucks for the rest of my career.
And then he dropped the bomb. He said,
I'm one of the most competitive guys, and I've gave everything I can for the city of Milwaukee. I bleed green. I'm a Milwaukee Buck. Most importantly, I'm a winner, and I have to do whatever it takes for me to win. And if there's a better situation for me to win the Larry O'Brien, I have to take that better situation.
During the 7-game skid, Giannis spoke up, saying nobody should have personal agendas and that winning fixes everything. His frustration was written all over his face. He didn't trust the roster, and maybe not even the front office. Then came the headline moment. Giannis scrubbed his entire Instagram, every Bucks photo gone. Some fans tried to downplay it, saying he did something similar in 2020 before re-signing. But this time was different. Back then, Milwaukee was a contender. Now they were barely staying afloat. And in today's NBA, when a star wipes his team off social media, it's almost never random. It wasn't random. It was a message. Giannis even changed his bio from Milwaukee Bucks to just NBA athlete, and his profile pic became him in his Grease uniform. The only Bucks post he kept was the 2021 championship, almost like he was saying, I delivered, my part's done. But it got even messier. At Media Day, owner Wes Edens said Giannis met with him in June and committed long-term. Sounded great until Giannis was asked about it an hour later and said he didn't even remember that meeting. That look was brutal. Your owner claims loyalty and your superstar shrugs it off like it never happened. Fast forward to now. The team is 10-13, losers of 8 of their last 10, and Giannis just wiped Milwaukee from his socials. That fuse Edens lit months ago looks ready to explode. Nothing's official, but everything is back on the table. And here's the uncomfortable truth nobody in Milwaukee wants to say out loud. Moving on might be best for Giannis and the Bucks. Giannis hates being the villain, so he sends quiet signals instead. Deletes posts, drops subtle quotes, lets the world connect the dots. He keeps the door open just in case things magically turn around. But they're not turning around, they're collapsing. The Bucks have nothing left to build with. They don't own a single first-round pick until 2031. 5 straight drafts gone. New Orleans has their 2027 first, if it lands outside the top 4, and they hold swap rights for 2026. The Trailblazers, who now have Damian Lillard back, control Milwaukee's swap rights in 2028 and 2030. And Washington owns the Bucks' 2028 first after the Kyle Kuzma deal. It's a straight-up mess, leaving Milwaukee totally stuck with no way out.
Looking at a Milwaukee Bucks squad, and he's saying, this is an organization that drafted me, that believed in me, that has been very good to me, that helped me capture a championship because they got me the assets that I needed in the past.
Since John Horst became GM in 2017, the Bucks have traded 7 first-round picks, 3 years of swaps, and 18 second-rounders, all chasing championships with Giannis. And what do they have to show for it? 1 epic title run and 3 early playoff exits. That ring is legendary, but it's not enough to keep Giannis when there's no path to improve the roster. Financially, it's just as ugly. The Bucks are paying $22.5 million a year in dead money to Damian Lillard for the next 5 seasons, cash they can't trade, save, or use. To put it in perspective, Jabari Smith Jr. makes around $24.5 million. Milwaukee could have had a young rising star for the same price, but instead, they're paying for a player who isn't even on the court. This is where loyalty smacks into reality. The Bucks went all in for Giannis, and now they've got nothing left to push again. And here's the cold truth. Giannis is under contract through 2026 to 2027 with a player option in 2027 to 2028. If he opts out, he can walk for free. No trade, no return, nothing. The same way Cleveland lost LeBron in 2010 and OKC lost Durant in 2016. If Milwaukee hangs on and hopes, they risk losing their franchise star for absolutely nothing. But if they trade him now, they can grab first-round picks, young talent, and finally hit reset. It would hurt, no doubt. Fans would be crushed. But at this point, it might be the only way to stop the whole organization from collapsing. And if the front office handles it smart, without locking themselves into one team or one market, the rebuild could happen faster than people think. From Giannis' side, the clock is loud. He's turning 31 soon and has maybe 3 or 4 elite years left. Look around that locker room. Lillard is gone and rehabbing in Portland. Middleton's been traded. Lopez is with the Clippers. And the only guy left from the 2021 run besides Giannis is Bobby Portis. Milwaukee has no real path to contending. No cap room, no young talent, no picks. What you see is what you get. And what you see is a team hanging on in the East while Giannis still plays at an MVP level. He gave Milwaukee everything, 12 years, 2 MVPs, and a championship that ended a 50-year drought. But even loyalty has limits. He's hinted 3 times he wanted more, and 3 times Milwaukee pushed all their chips in. The Drew Holiday deal brought a title, the Damian Lillard trade led to back-to-back first-round exits, and stretching Dame's huge contract just to sign Miles Turner left the team stuck in 11th place. There is no fourth move left. The picks are gone, the cap space is gone, the flexibility is gone. Every time Giannis sent a quiet signal, a quote, a comment, a social media wipe, Milwaukee reacted by betting even bigger. It worked for a while, but now the table's empty and the Bucks have nothing left to play. That Instagram purge said everything. It wasn't emotional or random. It was a clear message. Giannis is done waiting for Milwaukee to figure things out. He stayed loyal, signed extensions, played like an MVP, brought a championship, but now the roster is aging out and the window is closing fast. With no assets left and no real path back to contending, even Giannis's patience has a limit. Now it's just a question of when the trade goes down. Does it happen before February in the summer, or does he finish the deal only to walk for nothing in 2027? However it plays out, one thing is crystal clear. The clock on the Giannis era in Milwaukee has officially started, and this time it's not slowing down. So what do you think? Is Giannis really done in Milwaukee, or can the Bucks pull off one last miracle to keep him? Is this the end of an era, or just another twist in his wild story? Drop your take in the comments. I actually want to hear what you think. Thanks for watching. It means a ton. Hit that like button, share this with another NBA fan, and don't forget to subscribe for more crazy basketball drama and deep dives. And if you want to keep the energy rolling, check out the next video. You won't want to miss it. Catch you there. Peace.